Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. Welcome back to another live show, epic drone show. Now today's show is going to be all about the Mavic Air. The Mavic Air, you've probably seen quite a few of my videos already, and I've got hundreds more coming soon. And a lot of discoveries since the last live show, and some of them, I mean, nothing too negative, but to keep everything real, what I insist upon doing is showcasing every aspect of the new Mavic Air drone. Now, if you're able to tune in last time, you're probably aware that that this front piece right here, the little door, that's been my biggest pain point, because that's the door that houses your micro SD card and also your USB-C port. So it's made out of a hard plastic. So what I do is keep it partially open, and I haven't had any problems as a result of that. So you can see this side's open. And I do that because it's a hard plastic, and if you close it all the way, it's very hard to open without tools. And obviously, there shouldn't be a tool required to open something like that. It should be a soft rubber. So that's definitely a major design oversight from the DJI design team. And to have something so good, so lightweight, so portable, and to have something as simple as a door that covers the USB-C port and the micro SD card slot is an unacceptable oversight, in my opinion. But the good news is that that's the most negative thing that I found so far in regards to the Mavic Air. Only one other semi-negative thing, and you may have watched the video on my channel, but I posted a video about prop wash, and that's what people refer to it as. If you watch some videos, especially the videos where you're filming directly into the sunlight, you may see what looks like it looks like horizontal lines that are kind of, for lack of a better word, rubber banding. So if you've seen that, that's one of the oddities. You know, again, I wouldn't call it an issue because the video quality from this thing, because it does not have the tap to focus requirement like the Mavic Pro had, the video quality from this thing is absolutely stunning. And to be able to just simply fire it up, get up in the air, and start filming and get exceptionally excellent 4K 30 video quality, that's something that we've never seen in something as small as the Mavic Air. You know, my expectation going into the Mavic Air, and again, I don't want to go into any sort of drone test with a negative mindset or an overly optimistic mindset, because both of those mentalities can create bias, and bias is something that I feel that should not exist within review videos. So, you know, I'm going to tell you the good and the bad, and that thing with the prop wash that they mentioned is, you know, I've seen it, and I didn't see it at first. If I was just editing on my MacBook Pro 13-inch monitor, I didn't really notice it, but when I cranked it out to the 4K 3840 by 2160 monitor, I was able to notice it. And check out my video. It's been kind of, I wouldn't say half and half, but maybe close to that. People have said they've seen it. Other people watched the video and they said, hey man, I don't see what you're talking about. So, you know, my assumption is that it may be heavily linked to the monitor and or computer that someone's using to view the video. Now what I can confirm is that the artifacts, you know, whatever we want to call that, they were present within the footage I was editing within Final Cut Pro 10, and then when I exported it from Final Cut Pro 10 and I watched the exported project in 4K 3840 by 2160, I could see it there, and after I uploaded it to YouTube, I could still see it. So it wasn't something that was introduced by YouTube processing of the video. So that's important to mention. So there is, and you know, it could be something that firmware could update. It could be something that is just the product of water on the ground. A lot of people said, you know, hey, it's probably the the water, or maybe it's the propellers. I mean, there's a lot of theories. So it's I don't know. It's an interesting, and again, I wouldn't call it an issue. I'm going to refer to it as a discovery, because it's one of those things you really got to look, and you've really got to have the right type of monitor, and you've really got to scrutinize the video to even notice that it's there. So is it something that, most of your, I mean, if you're doing YouTube videos, is it something that most people will even notice? Probably not. And for that reason, it doesn't bother me. Gary Goldsmith, welcome aboard. He said, on my DJI account, the Mavic Air is listed as shipped. Will I get shipping notification and number, or does it just show up? Well, I don't know. I can tell you from personal experience, I've had some drones that they just showed up. I've had some where I would get an email, and then I would have some where I never got an email. So it's kind of a crapshoot. I hate to say it, but that's the reality. So, and just to remind everyone, if you're wanting to get on board with the Mavic Air, if you're still, or maybe you're still on the fence and maybe you're looking at another drone, check out epicdroneshow.com. You can see let me point over there. You can see the link right there, epicdroneshow.com. You can find the Mavic Air and all of the drones on epicdroneshow.com. So, again, I'm an independent channel, so anything that you may choose to purchase from the links on epicdroneshow.com, it helps me out a lot. So if you're just looking for accessories, maybe you got a friend that's looking for a drone, whatever you're looking for, just go to epicdroneshow.com, and that really helps out a lot. So share that with others. Mark says, welcome aboard, Mark. Mark says, what's a good editor for Windows 10? Well, I would probably say the top-of-the-line editor for Windows 10 is probably Adobe Premiere. And now they've switched their business model. Adobe has. It used to be a paid product where you'd go out and as a one-time fee and you'd get Adobe Premiere. But now they've switched to a pay-to-play plan. But I don't know how much it is per month. Check out Adobe's website. That's probably your best bet. I think there may be, and again, I'm a Mac user, so someone else in the live show may have a better recommendation. But you could also check out. You may want to check. They may still have a light version of Adobe Premiere. I mean, depending upon how heavy duty you want to get with your video edits. And then also, there's a lot of people that have a lot of positive things to say about Sony Vegas. I've never used Sony Vegas. I've used Adobe Premiere, but being a Mac user, I started out with iMovie on a Mac, and then as I got more involved with my video edits, I upgraded to Final Cut Pro 10 on a Mac. So neither of the applications that I've used for video editing, unfortunately, neither of those are available for Windows. But again, there's a lot of people that say Adobe Premiere, which is available for Mac or Windows. There's a lot of people that are in love with Adobe Premiere. So that would, if you're looking for the best of the best, that's probably the best. And, I would check that out. But, and I think the interface for Adobe Premiere, I haven't used it recently, but I think it's improved quite a bit, kind of like Final Cut Pro. Back before you had Final Cut Pro 10, the interface was pretty archaic. So you really had to know, you had to have a pretty solid level of, a pretty high level understanding, a pretty thorough understanding of video editing, rather, to be able to edit using Final Cut Pro 10 back in the day. But, like most everything else, it's pretty much, a lot of the professionals in the industry, they were offended when Final Cut Pro 10 released, because a lot of them felt that it dumbed it down too much and it took a lot of their features away. But the reality is, what happened is that the new version of Final Cut Pro 10, a lot of that functionality is still there, and it's likely even better, but most of it is drag and drop now. So it changed their workflow, it confused a lot of people. But for newbies in the game, and again, I haven't been doing video editing for that long. I've been doing it for quite a few years now, but at that point in time I hadn't. So to be able to hop on board, migrate from iMovie to Final Cut Pro 10, it was a simple transition. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But I think Dwayne, welcome aboard, man. Welcome aboard. We got Dwayne here. We've got a huge audience. Again, this show was not scheduled. I want to try to start doing some scheduled live shows, but due to the excitement, just the buzz surrounding the Mavic Air. I mean, this thing, one of the things, and I don't know if I've touted this in the live show, but one of the things that really impresses me about the Mavic Air is just the attention to design detail. We're going to take the back door out of the equation because that's a nuisance. But aside from that, all the rest of the design is exceptional. And just look at this, the gimbal protector. You just pop that, and then you slide it out, and there's your camera. And you'll notice on the Mavic Air, the camera is a lot more internalized. So from a design perspective, that's greatly superior to the Mavic Pro, because if you were like me when you were flying the Mavic Pro, you were almost tempted to fly with the gimbal protector on the Mavic Pro because the camera was just kind of dangling out of the front. And that's not a good feeling when you've got something so expensive flying around, and it could land on a stick or it could hit a rock when it lands. This more internalized gimbal design enhances peace of mind. Now, one thing worth mentioning, this gimbal guard is not to be flown with. It's not transparent. It's the gimbal itself with this on would not even function. It wouldn't have the range of motion that it needed to be able to function. But what's nice about this is just how easily it goes back on. You just simply, line up. Sometimes you gotta gently play with it, but once you get it in there, you just kind of line it up on the top part right there, and then it slides in. Once that piece is slid in, then this just snaps down, and it makes a reassuring snap sound, so you know it's on there. And that's cool because this is the first DJI drone that has had a gimbal protector that's actually easy on and easy off. Gary says, another question, how much time does a firmware update involve? Well, the firmware update, the time that it takes is going to be determined heavily by your internet connection. And not only your internet connection, but the server itself. A lot of time when you got a new drone that comes out, there's a lot of people concurrently trying to update, and that can congest the connection server side. So even though your internet connection may be fast, there could be a lot of other people hitting the server, so it can slow it down. My best recommendation is to try, if you're planning to go out and fly the next day, try the night before. And something that a viewer pointed out, and I was unaware of this, and this was before my first day in the field, since I got to fly more combo, I had 3 batteries. But when I updated the firmware the night before in the studio, I updated the firmware with 1 battery in it. And what I found out is that once you put another battery in your drone, it's going to have to update the firmware. So in that scenario, I'd updated everything with 1 battery, but then I got out in the field, and fortunately I have unlimited LTE cellular service for my phone, so I didn't have to worry about data charges or anything. But I got hit with firmware update after firmware update, so it was quite time consuming. So plan ahead, put all your batteries in. Keep in mind your controller may have some firmware updates too. So what my recommendation would be is after everything seems to be updated, power it on, load up the app as if you were going to fly, and see if another firmware update comes down, because there's a good possibility, especially if you've got a new drone, that there's probably a lot of firmware updates that are going to hit it, and that can be that can be a problem in the field, because especially if you've got 1 battery and you take your drone out to the field for the first time, and then you get hit with firmware update after firmware update, there goes your battery life. So plan ahead. Kurt says, I heard in active track it will only follow 100 meters, then it stops and hovers. Is that true? Well, I can't say if that's true or not because I haven't tested it. You can check out my active track test where I've tested it once, and I was running through a field. I didn't go in. I don't think I went anywhere close to 100 meters. So let's see, 300 meters would be 1,000 feet, so 100 meters would be a little bit over 300. A little bit over 300 feet. So yeah, I didn't get anywhere close to that. Let's see. Yep, Brendan made a great point. He says, where's the pink yarn? He's got a solution that he engineered, and he just put a little piece of yarn on here on the gimbal guard, and in that way it's hanging down. It functions as a visual reminder that that you have not yet removed your gimbal protector. So it's a brilliant solution for a common problem that most all of us have probably encountered. That's really cool. I need to attach that. I haven't done it, but yeah, this thing is just, I mean, it is rock solid. I mean, I've got something. I'm going to be featuring this on my channel tomorrow, but I'll go ahead and give y'all a teaser. And this thing right here is something else. So, and you'll be able to find this tomorrow morning on epicdroneshow.com. But what this is it's a holder for your smartphone. And you can see this kind of pops out. This right here is like a heavy aluminum, or high quality, not heavy, but high quality aluminum type material. So if you're like me and you fly with your iPhone in a case, you can simply leave your iPhone in most cases, and you can pop it in like this. And now I've got my iPhone in its case, so it's better. My iPhone's better protected. I've got it elevated from the controller. I don't have to deal with this little clunky thing on the side. And then I just use my standard lightning cable that came with my iPhone and stick it in. Now, obviously, this is a long cable. I've got a shorter cable coming, and you'll be able to find it when I post this on Epic Drone Show tomorrow. But you can plug it into the bottom of your thing instead of to the side. Now, I kept this side cable in here, you know, in the event that I'm going ultra portable and I don't want to take this with me, even though this is super small, super lightweight. It's and I'll show you. Well, check out my video that I'm going to post in the morning. I'll show you how I remove and uninstall this. Quick process. It stuffs into a little stuff sack that came with it. Just very kind of fuzzy feeling, fuzzy stuff sack. It's just a very cool thing. If you want just a better feel for the controls, and you don't want to feel like your iPhone may pop out or have this little pesky cable pop out the side, this is definitely a must upgrade. And again, you'll be able to find it on epicdroneshow.com in the morning, and it's not that expensive. So just a super convenient add-on for the Mavic, and Mavic Air rather. So it's that was one of the pain points I had. I'm very picky about the feel of the controls, and now by having that up high like that, I feel like I've got a it's a more I'm trying to think of the word for it, more optimized feel and look rather. Feel and look. Alfredo says, have you had any shaking problems like some people posted? Well, there's one guy, and I'm trying to remember his channel name, but he had an extreme example, and he was out in the field, and his Mavic Air was just shaking and making all this racket. It's obvious that he had a defective unit, and I think within a follow-up video he said he sent it back. I've never had. Hey Mark, when you do order tomorrow, go to epicdroneshow.com and click on the store link, and you can find the Mavic Air, all the different colors, the various bundles, accessories, and a whole lot more. If you could do that, man, I appreciate it, because that's my website. Yeah, and Max Swifty says, and the cable for Wi-Fi view. So you can pair your Mavic Air using Wi-Fi only, but the optimal way, at least in my opinion, is to tether it to your controller with a cable. So, you know, either using this included cable that goes in on the side, the micro USB, or using your iOS or Android style cable, plugging it in the bottom and then sticking it into your smartphone, or tablet rather. So it's now this particular mount is for, I don't think it's big enough for tablets, but it fits my iPhone 7 Plus that I use. But yeah, the shaking problem with the drone, have not encountered it. You know, it's like anything else. There's probably going to be lemons off of the line. So unfortunately, the guy that posted that video, it seems that he probably got a dud. So hopefully he gets a replacement. I've had no shaking issues, and actually even in wind, you know, and check out the first few of my field test videos. Even in moderate wind, the thing handles well. I mean, not when I mean handle, it handles well in wind, but it hovers well in wind. If you check out some of my videos, it's got a little bit of a drift to it, but it by no means gets tossed around. And that was something with the Mavic Air that I was kind of worried about. I mean, is something so small and something so lightweight? And it is very lightweight, but it is worth mentioning. It does have a little bit of a weighted feel to it, and that's important for the stability. But yeah, I haven't had any shaking problems with it, and it's my unit has been a real treat. So I've really enjoyed it. Let's see. Yeah, Mark, I'll have that link to the holder up. I may even get the holder link up on Epic Drone Show tonight. As soon as I do, you'll see a video, and what that video will do is, it'll be the unboxing video, and then I'll have the installation video. As soon as I have that up, I'll have the corresponding order link on my website. But if you want to get it really fast, if you want to get the link before then, feel free to shoot me a message, facebook.com/IrixGuy, and I'll forward you the link even before I post it on the website. I'll forward you the link when I'm going to hit the treadmill up and try to burn off some fat. So I can do it while I'm on treadmill. So KC says, will the OTG cable better the connection? I haven't flown Wi-Fi only. That's a test I haven't attempted. So I've only flown with the cable, and it's been a rock solid experience. Never have I lost FPV view. Never have I lost control. So it's working really well. Ron says, is it heavier than the Spark? Well, I don't have the Spark anymore, man. I would do a hand-in-hand comparison. My gut tells me that I'd have to look at the specs. It may be a little bit heavier. Dwayne says the shaking from the IMU having to be warmed up, and plus these people are using it in the winter. The Mavic is just chill. Yeah, the Mavic's chilly. I mean, it's if electronics become cold, they can misbehave. So there's a good possibility that a lot of these problems are related to temperatures. That's a really good point. Max Swifty says, could you get better battery life by filming in 1080p? I don't know if the video quality would necessarily affect battery life. There's a possibility. My gut would say it may not, but there's a possibility that it may. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one. Ron says mini holders are big enough to hold an iPad mini. Yeah, there are tablet holders, and I'll feature some of those on EpicDroneShow.com as well. This one, the only reason I got it is just because I'm keeping it simple this year. If you've seen a lot of my past drone videos, you know that I filmed with the iPod Touch, and I enjoyed the iPod Touch because it was super small, super lightweight, and I could use it and not have to worry about running the battery down on my iPhone. But what I do now is I use my iPhone 7 Plus because I got a bigger screen. I just turn off the cellular connection so people won't call me while I'm flying my drone, and then I take a battery bank with me so I can top my phone off if I'm out in the field and not have to worry about draining my battery flying the drone and not being able to make phone calls. So that's a convenient thing. And if you want to take it up a level, you can even add a solar panel to your battery bank and top off your battery bank in the field so you've got renewable energy off the grid. How cool is that? So yeah, controller, and I don't know if we've demonstrated this within a previous video, but the sticks, and this is super nice, the way the sticks just unscrew. So now you've got a controller that can be less tall with the sticks off for travel. They put a lot of thought into the design of this, and a lot of people, the common theme seems to be, well, with all of this in the Mavic Air, should I buy the Mavic Air or should I wait for the Mavic Pro 2? And I've posted a video addressing that question, but to summarize, I think the Mavic, I know the Mavic Air is great. And again, it's my favorite drone in the market today. I've discontinued use of the Phantom 4, which was my go-to drone. The intro to this live show, the outro that you'll see to this live show, where I'm flying over that island. that was filmed with Phantom 4. That was my go-to drone. And I lugged that drone everywhere. I had a super heavy, waterproof and ruggedized case. Very nice case. Very comfortable case to carry, but it was still big and it was still heavy. And now I can get the same, if not better, 4K 30 video quality from something that folds up to a size that's not much bigger than my smartphone. And I mean, that absolutely blows my mind. I mean, look at that. There's iPhone 7 Plus. There's the Mavic Air in the case. I mean, that is incredible that this type of performance can come out of such a small and such a lightweight package. I mean, that blows my mind. And then again, it is worth mentioning, this uses enhanced Wi-Fi. It doesn't use OcuSync. So if you've been flying the Phantom 4, you know, that's an OcuSync drone. And if you're waiting for the Mavic Pro 2, there's a good possibility, and I don't see how it couldn't be, there's a good possibility Mavic Pro 2 will be OcuSync instead of Wi-Fi. So from a communications perspective, that would be a superior technology than enhanced Wi-Fi. But enhanced Wi-Fi actually is enhanced because I was expecting something on par with a DJI Phantom 2 Vision Plus, which I love that drone. Back in the day before 4K, that Phantom 2 Vision Plus was rock solid, and the camera was very good in 1080p, but it was a Wi-Fi drone. So it didn't have the ultra-reliable nature of a Phantom 4. So, you know, that is a pitfall with the Mavic Air. But with that being said, I've flown throughout the visual line of sight range, and never once has my FPV glitched, and never once have my controls failed. So with that being the case, this enhanced Wi-Fi is great for me. Now, obviously, if I was out over open ocean and I was in a place where I could really maximize the range, then this wouldn't have the range of something with OcuSync. So that's worth mentioning. The other thing, though, with this battery life in real-world conditions, which I found to be around 16 minutes or so of flight time, if you were flying really far out, there's a good possibility you wouldn't have enough battery to get back. So that's something you should take into account. So the absence of OcuSync is not necessarily a bad thing. And 16 solid minutes or so of flight time, I know they quote 21 or so, 16 minutes is more than enough to get the job done. You know, get up, film you one video for 5 minutes. If you mess up, film another 5 minutes. That puts you to 10 minutes. That leaves you a good 6 minutes or so to film again. So, I mean, that kind of battery life from a battery that's so small and so lightweight is absolutely incredible. KC says, parabolic boosted vid range test. That sounds cool. Big Plane says, just came here. You do great reviews. I appreciate that. And again, this is an independent channel. So, you know, it's your viewership. I see a ton of y'all tuning in live. And this is what makes this work. And, you know, anything you need, drones, drone accessories, drone how-tos, go to epicdroneshow.com because it's all there. And that really helps out a lot. Barry says, Ron says, but will it handle high wind like the Phantom 4? My gut says it probably won't. And the highest wind that I've flown this in has been about 6.4 knots. So I know with the Phantom 4 for a fact that I've flown in much windier conditions than that. I've flown in some conditions with the Phantom 4 where obviously in a safe and responsible location, but the wind speed was questionable. And I mean, I was like, man, this thing's probably going to fall to the ground in a safe and responsible location, but it never did. So the Phantom 4 handled wind like a champ. And I don't know if I just think from a size and weight perspective, I think that it would be scientifically next to impossible for this to be able to perform as well in high wind as a Phantom 4 does. But something I would be interested to test. Ron says, my Mavic Pro is good, but can't handle the wind like the Phantom 4. Exactly. The Mavic Pro can't handle it like the Phantom 4, and I'm assuming this probably couldn't as well. KC says, thoughts on the Autel Evo. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Autel Evo, Autel is a company in 2017 at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. They touted a new drone. It looked really cool. It had modular camera options. The design of it looked very similar to the DJI Phantom. To my knowledge, that drone has never materialized. this year's CES 2018 Consumer Electronics Show, Autel was touting a new drone called the Evo, and the Evo looked very similar in design to the Mavic Pro. Now, is that drone going to materialize? Again, to be determined. But my assumption is that if people feel that it may materialize, and that if they actually hit the market with that drone, and if it's well perceived, that DJI will probably respond like they did with GoPro Karma. Remember GoPro Karma came out, and they were dancing around at their launch event, and the CEO was out there, and he was so proud of the GoPro Karma. And then a day or so later, I forget how long after that, it wasn't long at all, but then DJI came out and said, hey, we've got Mavic Pro, your GoPro Karma is garbage, we're so much better, and GoPro Karma just crumbled. And then GoPro Karma was recalled due to a potential safety issue, so they had it really bad. But yeah, I mean, on paper, the Autel Evo looks cool, and I definitely think that DJI deserves competition, because that's what we don't have right now. We've got a drone company that arguably produces awesome products, and they can charge whatever they want to, and they can dictate the release cycle as much as they want to, because they don't have any competition. So it would be great to see someone like an Autel or somebody step up and actually compete. But looking at the dollars that it would cost to even try to develop a drone on par with what DJI currently offers, that's probably out of reach by most companies. And then number two, even if they did have the financial backing to do so, they would then have to convert people from the best drone brand, which is DJI, and encourage them to use their product. So, you know, if you're driving the Rolls Royce, then you got somebody coming up and say, hey man, you need to get in this Kia, it's really good. And I mean, nothing wrong with either of those cars, but that's going to be a tough sell. So, you know, they got a lot of stuff to do here. Let's see. Drone 51 did an awesome wind test. I've checked that out, man. Yeah, KC says competition innovates 100%. You're right. And without competition, there's no need to innovate. And if you're selling what you're selling, just give it a paint job. That's what they did. Mavic Pro Platinum, DJI Phantom 4 Pro Obsidian. Just a paint job, man, with some less noisy props or whatever. Ron says, IrixGuy has a great channel. And then Barry says, really liked and subbed IrixGuy. That is cool, because, again, the independent channel, you know, everything you see here, this is, now I'm in front of a green screen right now, but this backdrop I filmed that up in British Columbia. Very cool place. If you've ever been to Canada, I mean, that's a cool country, man. But yeah, it's an interesting time right now. And what's so exciting is that, you know, not only has DJI delivered something that's just, I mean, blows my mind. I mean, it really does. And I haven't felt this way about a drone since I got the Phantom 3 Pro in my hands. And the Phantom 3 Pro was a huge leap forward because it introduced a 4K 30 camera. And by the way, I still believe that the what am I trying to say? The Phantom 3 Pro 4K 30 video is as good as the Phantom 4 4K 30 video. So hold on a second here. I got my little thing disappeared here. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it's I mean, this is the first thing that has just absolutely turbo impressed me since the Phantom 3 Pro. So I guess obviously the most impressive thing was the Phantom 1. You know, the first time flying a drone. You know, you took it up in the air and it's like, man, this has got to be fake. You know, where's this thing going to crash? How's this thing going to crash? When's it going to crash? And that sort of thing. I mean, it was amazing to see that the technology actually worked. And then, you know, once you knew that the technology worked, then your comfort level with the technology increased. And in safe and responsible locations, you were more willing to take greater risk in a safe and responsible location with your drone because you wanted to capture the good footage. And you felt fairly confident that given the track record you probably had with DJI drones, that it did the job and it did it well. And you could take it up and you could film, and and the thought of it crashing in a safe and responsible location was minimal. I mean, that was the probability of that happening was minimal. So, you had a high degree of confidence that you were going to be able to film that video and not worry about losing your drone. But again, as I've always said, completely expect to lose your drone anytime you take off, because it could happen. I mean, technology fails. So, this is an expensive hobby. There's no doubt about it. And hopefully we'll get some competition soon, and DJI get some competition soon, and the prices will decrease because. But on the flip side, it's probably a positive that this is still a somewhat expensive hobby, because hopefully it'll keep a lot of the less than responsible people out of it. Because being part of this hobby, you should be a drone evangelist. You should preach safe and responsible drone use. And that should be anytime you're out in the field, pop on your prop guards. Pop on your prop guards with pride and just say, hey, I'm safe and I'm responsible because I care about the positive perception of drones. Because if we don't, this hobby will, big governments everywhere will destroy it. They'll say, you cannot fly a drone. Ha, 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 ha. And we don't want that. So, yeah, it's good stuff. Mark says, I like my Phantom 3. Still flies great. No doubt. One of the best drones on the market, man. KC says, yeah, Ron says the Phantom 3 Pro is the first great drone. Matt likes turtles. Very cool. KC says, keep these reviews up, bro. Informational and straightforward, unlike other reviews stating only the positive. That should be the only way to do it. Keep it fair. Keep it honest. The good and the bad. John says, like your channel, drone on the way to me. Mark Brahman says, oh yeah, we already read that one. Will McCaskill says, is there a certain lens filter brand you would suggest for the Air? Again, something I got to test in the field. I have not yet attached a lens filter to my Mavic Air, but something I want to explore are the various neutral density filters, the ND filters, and maybe some CPL, circular polarizer filters. So stay tuned for those field tests here on epicdroneshow.com. Big Plane says, hi, Irix. I wanted to know, what do you do with your old drones? I want to get the Mavic Air and have a P3 standard, but I don't really know what to do. I thought I would ask you. Well, actually, if you there's a place, and if you go to epicdroneshow.com and go to drones, or go to shop and go to drones and go to drone auction, always try to auction off your drone. That's an option. There's stuff in the paper. You can not in the paper. Well, yeah, you could probably sell in a newspaper. There's that Craigslist site. Sometimes that can be kind of creepy, but if you arrange a public and safe location to meet, sometimes you can sell stuff on Craigslist. I've had luck with that. Alfredo says the GDU-02 sliding arm drone is what is the closest thing to the Mavic Air at the same price. What do you think of it? I've never even heard of it, but I will have to research it. I have not heard of that. So it'd be cool to do. Well, it is approximately 9:04 p.m. New York City time, and I've got to hit up treadmill and burn off some of this fat, and then that way I can eat whatever I want to eat. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all tuning in, and yeah, we're 40 minutes in. This has been a great show. I want to do a lot more live shows, especially with this drone out, and especially with the Mavic Pro 2. Actually, may see the Phantom 5 before we see the Mavic Pro 2. And I'm going to go as far as to say I think that we will see Phantom 5 at the NAB show, and I don't think we'll see the Mavic Pro 2 until later this year, because it would make sense that DJI release the very professional, ultra upmarket version of the Phantom at the NAB show, because that would be a prime target audience for that. And then if they release the Mavic Pro 2, that could potentially cannibalize sales of their Mavic Air. So it would seem they would want to release something that's a completely different animal than the Mavic Air and sell it to the more prosumer crowd, and then wait till the end of the year when people may be getting tired of their Mavic Airs already and be like, I need to buy that. That's like the Mavic Air on steroids. So, well, I mean, we'll see what happens, but it's going to be cool. And I appreciate everyone tuning in, and we're going to conclude this live show. This live show, all the previously recorded Epic Drone shows, you can find. Just go to epicdroneshow.com. You can watch all the shows. You can share them. You can comment. And most importantly, you can find all the drones, all the drone accessories, and a whole lot more there as well. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/IrixGuy. Y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you.